Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, February 1st, 2021. Today I'm going to go over yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, as well as the rest of the weekend's games, and look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. I'll talk about a big trade in the NFL from the weekend, as well as a big trade from Major League Baseball. My first mock bracket of 2021 for college hoops, and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start in college basketball. We'll go over all the weekend's results starting from Friday night. So, without further ado, here we go. North Texas over Rice, 79-74. NC Central over Carver, 94-61. Monmouth over Niagara, 77-67. Detroit Mercy over Youngstown State, 78-75. Louisiana over Texas State, 62-60. UNC Asheville over Winthrop, 57-55. IUPUI over Milwaukee, 73-68. Northern Kentucky over UIC, 72-68. Longwood over Presbyterian, 49-45. Bellarmine over Kennesaw State, 84-67. Charlotte over FIU, 63-55 in overtime. High Point over Gardner-Webb, 59-55. Cal Poly over Cal State Northridge, 76-70. Cleveland State over Green Bay, 74-68. Florida Gulf Coast over Stetson, 64-63. North Alabama over North Florida, 82-78. Liberty over Jacksonville, 59-54. Troy over Appalachian State, 71-62. Ohio over Buffalo, 76-75. UC Santa Barbara over UC Davis, 72-51. Campbell over Charleston Southern, 59-58. Oakland over Purdue Fort Wayne, 81-66. Little Rock over Yale Monroe, 66-62. Northern Arizona over Northern Colorado, 68-64. St. Peter's over Manhattan, 59-55. North Dakota State over UMKC, 71-67. South Dakota over Omaha, 91-59. Utah Valley over Tarleton, 73-60. North Dakota over Western Illinois, 83-81. Coastal Carolina over Georgia Southern, 79-62. Arkansas State over Texas Arlington, 83-75 in overtime. Number 19 Illinois over number 7 Iowa, 80-75. Wright State over Robert Morris, 79-70. Grand Canyon over New Mexico State, 70-62. Cal Baptist over Dixie State, 89-74. Boise State over Colorado State, 85-77. Cal State Fullerton over Cal State Bakersfield, 90-84. And UC Irvine over Hawaii, 53-51. Saturday was a very busy day. Number 24 Oklahoma over number 9 Alabama, 66-61. Tulsa over East Carolina, 77-68. Duke over Clemson, 79-53. Navy over Loyola Maryland, 70-52. A&M over Kansas State, 68-61. Georgetown over Providence, 73-72. Marist over Siena, 55-54. VC over LaSalle, 73-62. Furman over West Carolina, 75-69. William & Mary over Towson, 84-74. Hofstra over UNC Wilmington, 82-73. Number 10, Texas Tech over LSU, 76-71. Florida upsets number 11, West Virginia, 85-80. Number 12, Missouri over TCU, 102-98 in overtime. NC A&T over Florida A&M, 70-58. Binghamton over New Hampshire, 65-44. Hartford over Stony Brook, 59-57. Sacred Heart over Mount St. Mary, 61-58. Wake Forest over Miami, 66-54. Colgate over Holy Cross, 74-63 in overtime. Bucknell over Lehigh, 84-70. Morehead State over Tennessee Tech, 74-55. Miami of Ohio over Western Michigan, 65-56. Akron over Ball State, 74-42. Delaware over Elan, 66-43. St. Bonaventure over George Mason, 84-67. Utah over Colorado, 77-74. Penn State over number 14, Wisconsin, 81-71. Lipscomb over Bluefield State, 89-56. Louisiana Tech over Southern Miss, 65-62. Morgan State over Coppin State, 79-76. Abilene Christian over Incarnate Word, 75-67. Milwaukee over IUPUI, 83-76. Weber State over Idaho, 81-62. Number 3, Villanova over Seton Hall, 80-72. Number 2, Baylor over Auburn, 84-72. Georgia Tech over number 16, Florida State, 76-65. Niagara over Monmouth, 83-74. Northern Iowa over Southern Illinois, 74-62. Wichita State over UCF, 93-88 in overtime. Long Island over St. Francis Brooklyn, 102.88. Dayton over Rhode Island, 67.56. Presbyterian over Longwood, 66.54. Bellarmine over Kennesaw State, 84.79. Georgia Southern over Coastal Carolina, 61.58. Charlotte over FIU, 68.65. Oklahoma State over Arkansas, 81.77. Prairie View over Alabama A&M, 75.57. Wofford over Mercer, 72.69. East Tennessee State over the Citadel, 112.84. Kent State over Central Michigan, 83.76. Norfolk State over Delaware State, 94.66. Southern over Alcorn State, 76.59. High Point over Gardner-Webb, 72.69. Arizona over Cal, 71.50. Southeast Louisiana over New Orleans, 79.73. Wright State over Robert Morris, 86.56. Northern Kentucky over UIC, 69.67. Detroit State over Youngstown State, 77.72. SIU Edwardsville over UT Martin, 76.70. LSP over Tennessee State, 71.56. North Florida over North Alabama, 82.72. Northwestern State over Central Arkansas, 81.77. Texas Arlington over Arkansas State, 65.64. Little Rock over UL Monroe, 65.49. Louisiana over Texas State, 74.73. Troy over App State, 65.59. Toledo over Bowling Green, 84.66. Campbell over Charleston Southern, 75.67. Lamar over McNeese, 64.56. Xavier over Butler, 68.55. Number 20, Virginia Tech upsets number 8, Virginia, 65.51. Number 18, Tennessee over number 15, Kansas, 80-61. Idaho State over Northwestern Washington, 89-48. San Jose State over Air Force, 75-62. Georgia over Ole Miss, 71-61. Southeast Missouri State over Eastern Illinois, 75-44. Liberty over Jacksonville, 64-58. Mississippi State over Iowa State, 95-56. BYU over Pacific, 95-87 in double overtime. Jackson State over Mississippi Valley State, 106-56. Grambling over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 74-71. Number 23, UCLA over Oregon State, 57-52. Cal State Northridge over Cal Poly, 64-51. Fresno State over New Mexico, 65-55. Fairleigh Dickinson over Bryant, 81-79. Duquesne over St. Joe, 67-50. Oakland over Purdue Fort Wayne, 82-75. Cleveland State over Green Bay, 75-65. Or 73-65, my bad. Stetson over Florida Gulf Coast, 77-66. UNC Greensboro over VMI, 76-59. UC Santa Barbara over UC Davis, 89-86 in overtime. Purdue over number 21 Minnesota, 81-62. St. Francis, Pennsylvania over Central Connecticut State, 62-59. Number 1 Gonzaga over Pepperdine, 97-75. Number 17 Creighton over DePaul, 69-62. Notre Dame over Pitt, 84-58. Arizona State over Stanford, 79-75. St. Peter's over Manhattan, 68-54. UMKC over South Dakota, or North Dakota State, my bad, 49-47. South Dakota over Omaha, 97-93. Tarleton over Utah Valley, 70-62. Western Illinois over North Dakota, 99-87. Vandy over South Carolina, 93-81. That was a stunner. Belmont over Murray State, 72-71. Texas Southern over Alabama State, 80-73. UTEP over UTSA, 69-51. Grand Canyon over New Mexico State, 65-53. Dixie State over Cal Baptist, 79-75. San Diego State over Wyoming, 98-71. Cal State Bakersfield over Cal State Fullerton, 83-73. And Hawaii over UC Irvine, 62-61 in overtime. Yesterday's results. Tulane over Temple, 81-64. Number 6, Houston over SMU, 70-48. Number 13, Ohio State over Michigan State, 79-62. William & Mary over Towson, 75-74. Hofstra over UNC Wilmington, 89-83. James Madison over Drexel, 73-64. New Hampshire over Binghamton, 71-65 in overtime. NJIT over UMBC, 69-65. Stony Brook over Hartford, 63-49. Mount St. Mary's over Sacred Heart, 76-64. Bucknell over Lehigh, 92-68. Delaware over Lalonde, 75-70. Eastern Washington over Sacramento State, 68-60. Siena over Marist, 63-50. Loyola Chicago over Missouri State, 72-46. Drake over Illinois State, 78-76 in overtime. UAB over Middle Tennessee, 63-52. St. John's over Marquette, 75-73. NCAT over Florida A&M, 65-63. Or 67-65, my bad. North Texas over Rice, 79-53. Evansville over Valpo, 70-52. Indiana State over Bradley, 60-57. Central Connecticut State over St. Francis, Pennsylvania, 85-77. Fairleigh Dickinson over Bryant, 95-84. Stephen F. Austin over Sam Houston, 78-68. Colgate over Holy Cross, 78-60. Southern Illinois over Northern Iowa, 71-68. Syracuse over NC State, 76-73. UC Riverside over UC San Diego, 71-59. Rutgers over Northwestern, 64-56. Washington State over Washington, 77-62. And Nevada over UNLV, 89-60. All right. Today's slate, 12 o'clock noon, you have the Citadel in Western Carolina. My line for this game is Citadel 1.5. I did not do totals today because I did not have time, unfortunately. So, the line for this game is on FanDuel, Western Carolina 7.5. Wrong teams favored. My goodness, Western Carolina's been abysmal. Give me Citadel plus 7.5, minus 115, and plus, 265 on the money line. 2 o'clock on ACC Network, Georgia Tech at number 25, Louisville. My line is Louisville 4.5, and it's Louisville 4.5. So, line's correct, 134.5. I'm going to jump on the over 134.5. I think both these teams can score, and I think this game's played into the 70s. Sacramento State and Eastern Washington. My line is Eastern Washington 4.5, and it's 9.5. Give me Sacramento State plus a 9.5 at minus 120. UMBC at NJIT. My line is UMBC 7, and there's no line out yet for this game. 3 o'clock, Austin P and SIU Edwardsville. My line is Austin P 4.5. And it's 6.5. Give me SIU Edwardsville plus a 6.5 at minus 108. 5 o'clock. St. Francis, Brooklyn, Long Island. My line is Long Island 4.5. And it's 4.5. Total 156.5. I'm going to take the... These two teams had a high-scoring game the other day, so I think this could be an overreaction. I'm going to be conservative and take the under at minus 108. Bradley, Indiana State. My line's Indiana State 2.5, and it's Bradley 1.5. Give me Indiana State plus 1.5 and plus 102 on the money line. 6 o'clock, Carver Stetson, we can skip. 7 o'clock, Florida Memorial and Florida International, we can skip. Murray State, Southeast Missouri State. My line is Murray State 6, and it is Murray State 8.5. Give me Southeast Missouri State plus 8.5 at minus 118. East Tennessee State and Wofford. My line is Wofford by 1, and it's 1.5. Total 134.5. I'm going to jump on the under at minus 112. Don't feel good about it, though. Valpo, Evansville. My line is Valpo by 0.5, and it is Evansville by 2.5. So give me Valpo plus the 2.5 at minus 118 and plus 116 on the money line. Illinois State and Drake. My line is Drake 13.5, and it's 17.5. Give me Illinois State plus a 17.5 at minus 105. ESPN tonight, Duke, Miami. My line's Duke 9, and it's Duke 11.5. Give me Miami plus 11.5 at minus 115. I like going against Duke, especially with them being as disappointing as they are. So give me Miami plus 11.5 at minus 115 against Duke. 8 o'clock, UCF, Memphis. My line is Memphis 8.5. And it's 9.5. 133.5 is the total, and I'm going to jump on the under. Loyola Chicago, Missouri State. My line is Loyola Chicago by 8, and it's 7.5. Total 135.5. I'm going to jump on the under. 8:30, Arkansas Pine Bluff and Jackson State. My line is Jackson State 10.5. And it's 11.5. Total 137.5. I'm going to take the under. I don't feel good about it. Mississippi State and Grambling. My line is Grambling 13. And it is Grambling 24.5. I hate to do this because Mississippi State or Valley State is so bad. But I have to take them. I have no choice. So give me Mississippi Valley State plus a 24.5 at minus 112. Alabama State and Prairie View. My line is Prairie View 10. And it's 15.5. I'm taking Alabama State plus a 15.5 at minus 104. Alabama A&M and Texas Southern. My line is Texas Southern 4.5. And it's 7.5. I'm taking Bama A&M plus 7.5 at minus 112. 9 o'clock ESPN tonight. Best game on the board. Number 24 Oklahoma at number 10 Texas Tech. My line is, ironically and amazingly enough, Oklahoma by a half. I can't believe I have Oklahoma as a road favorite. But here we are. Because I changed how I do my projections. So, it is indeed Oklahoma as a half-point favorite. So, give me Oklahoma plus the 6.5 and plus 250 straight up. And Oklahoma plus 6.5 is -2 or minus 106. And on ESPN2 tonight at 9 o'clock, South Carolina State and NC Central. NC Central playing its first game in a long time. I project them as a 15-point favorite, and they're favored by 16.5. Total 139.5. I'm going to take the under at minus 114. And that's it for the college basketball for today's show. Now we'll move on to the NBA. We'll go over the weekend and yesterday's games, and we will look ahead to what is a short slate for tonight. All right, so Friday night, Knicks over to Cavs 102-81, Hornets over to Pacers 108-105, Hawks over to Wizards 116-100, Kings over to Raptors 126-124, Pelicans over to Bucks 131-126, Clippers over to Magic 116-90, 76ers over to Timberwolves 118-94, Nets over to Thunder 147-125, Spurs over to Nuggets 119-109, Jazz over to Mavs 120-101. Saturday, Blazers over to Bulls 123-122 on a buzzer beater 3 by Damian Lillard. And there was a fadeaway shot. Classic Dame. Hornets over to Bucks 126-114. Rockets over to Pelicans 126-112. Heat over to Kings 105-104. And Jimmy Butler's return. Lakers over to Celtics 96-95. And it was a great game on Saturday primetime. Grizzlies over to Spurs 129-112. Suns over to Mavericks 111-105. Warriors over to Pistons 118-91. Yesterday, Clippers over to Knicks 129-115. Nuggets over to Jazz 128-117 to end the Jazz's 11-game winning streak. 76ers over to Pacers 119-110. Raptors over to Magic 115-102. Wizards over to Nets 149-146. And the Timberwolves over to Cavaliers 109-104. Today's slate at 7:30 have the Lakers and the Hawks. This line could be a number of things. With LeBron and AD, Lakers by 8. With LeBron but no AD, Lakers 5. Without LeBron but with AD, Lakers 2. And without both of them, Hawks by 1. So, I'm going to quickly check the injury report to see if one of those players is out for the game. So, DeAndre Hunter's out for Atlanta. We got to factor that in the line because he really has made a jump. He's worth, to me, a half point for Atlanta because of his improvement this year. So, to change these projections on the fly. So, looks like Davis is questionable. LeBron looks like he's going to play. So, I gave you all my projected lines, but adding the half to in favor of the Lakers for these projections because of the absence of DeAndre Hunter. The Lakers are favored by 5.5. So that line's trying to tell you that Davis probably isn't going to play, but LeBron will. So I'm willing to lay it with the Lakers here. But Lakers 5.5 is my line without Davis. So, and the total is 220. I'm willing to lay that line if Davis is playing and if LeBron's playing. But to me, that tells me that Davis is out. 218.5 is the total. My projected 220. Davis or not, I'm taking the over. I think that the Hawks, with Trae Young playing, could shoot the lights out. And I think that if LeBron plays, that he'll have a good game. And I could see other Lakers stepping up, like Kyle Kuzma and Talen Horton-Tucker if he gets some playing time, and Schroeder and Harrell. So I'm going to go over 218.5 as my pick for that game. Hornets Heat. My projection for this game is Miami 5, total 218. Jimmy Butler's back, and it is Miami 6.5, total 217. So I'm going to take Charlotte plus 6.5 at minus 114. That's the only avenue I can go because that's my closest projection. Although I have an edge on the over as well, so I like to go with my bigger edge if it's less than 2. So give me Charlotte plus 6.5 at minus 114. Eight o'clock, you have the Timberwolves and the Cavaliers again playing at the second end of a home and home. My line is Cavaliers 3, total 218. Meanwhile, it is Cavaliers 4.5, total 219. Similar situation with the other game. I'm taking Minnesota plus 4.5 and minus 106 to keep it close. No, they won't win again, but I'm just grabbing the points. And oh, wait a minute. I didn't factor into that injury or the COVID for Towns. Oops. So it's Cleveland 6, total 218. So I have to lay it with the Cavaliers. I was just going to say, that looks way off to me. So give me Cavaliers minus 4.5. Next up, the Knicks and the Bulls from Chicago. My line is Knicks 1, total 220. Meanwhile, it's Bulls 4, total 218. If I'm taking the Knicks plus the 4 and plus 146 straight up. Next up is Portland and Milwaukee. My line is Milwaukee 8, total 231.5. Meanwhile, it is Milwaukee 9.5, total 236.5. I'm taking the under at minus 105. No McCollum, no Nurkic for Portland. So I can see that being an under. Next up is the Kings and the Pelicans. My line is Pelicans 1, total 228. Meanwhile, it's Pelicans 3, total 233. This is going to be another underplay right here. I just think that there's going to be a little bit more defense than Vegas thinks. The Thunder hosting the Rockets. My line is Thunder 1.5, total 221. Meanwhile, it is Rockets 5, total 223.5. I am taking the Thunder plus the 5 and plus 176 straight up. I have to do some adjustments with the Rockets if they win this game. And even if they don't win this game, because I overvalue James Harden. Maybe there's a Ewing theory going on with the Rockets without James Harden. I know Oladipo's playing really well, but I'm taking the Thunder plus 5 at minus 106 and plus 176 to win straight up. Next up at 8:30 on NBA TV, you have the Suns and the Mavericks. My line is Suns 2.5, total 218.5. Meanwhile, it is Dallas 3, total 216.5. I'm taking the Suns plus 3 minus 106 and plus 126 on the money line. Grizzlies Spurs, my line is Memphis 2, total 219.5. Meanwhile, it's San Antonio 4, total 220. Taking another dog. I'm taking Memphis plus 4 at minus 106 and plus 146 on the money line. I think John Morant will carry them to a win. And next up, last but not least, at 9 o'clock, you have the Pistons and the Nuggets. My line is Nuggets 14.5, total 224.5. Meanwhile, it's Nuggets 8.5, total 218.5. I'm laying it with Denver minus 8.5 at minus 110. I just think Detroit's terrible. So give me Denver minus 8.5 against the Pistons in my last NBA pick of the podcast. All right, now we'll move on to the NHL. We'll go over the weekend's results, and we will look ahead to tonight's slate of games. All right, Friday night. Blue Jackets over the Blackhawks 2-1. That was the only game that was played. Saturday, Sabres over the Devils 4-3 in a shootout. Flyers over the Islanders 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Scott Logden. Capitals over the Bruins 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Alex Ovechkin in his return from quarantine. Penguins over the Rangers 5-4 in overtime on a game winner by Sidney Crosby. Hurricanes over the Stars 4-1. Lightning over the Predators 4-3. Panthers over the Red Wings 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Alexei Hempaniemi. Flames over the Canadiens 2-0. Oilers over the Maple Leafs 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Connor McDavid. So, 3 of the NHL's biggest stars scored overtime winners on Saturday night. Avalanche over the Wild 5-1. Blues over the Ducks 6-1. Canucks over the Jets 4-1. And yesterday, Devils over the Sabres 5-3. Hurricanes over the Stars 4-3 in a shootout. Panthers over the Red Wings 3-2. Flyers over the Islanders 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Kevin Hayes. Blackhawks over the Blue Jackets 3-1. Wild over the Avalanche 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Jonas Brodin. Blues over the Ducks 4-1 and Oilers over the Senators 8-5. All right, tonight's games, there are 5 of them. 7 o'clock, NBCSN, Penguins-Rangers. Should be a fun game on national TV. If I had to guess who's calling the game on NBCSN, I would say Kenny Albert and Pierre Maguire because it is a big game in the Metropolitan Division, but really it's the East Division this year. And the Penguins are minus 115 favorites, or minus 118 favorites. Rangers are even money. Total 6.5 over. 6.5 is minus 105. Unders minus 115. Penguins puck line minus 1F is plus 230. Rangers puck line plus 1F is minus 280. Playing it safe, I'm taking the over at minus 105. Regardless of who's in net, I think this is another shootout, just like we saw on Saturday night, and as we saw on a couple Friday nights ago in that 4-3 game. I'm taking the over 6.5 at minus 105. I think it's really valuable, regardless of who's in net. I think it's going to be Tristan Jarry and Igor Shesterkin tonight because it was Casey DeSmith and Alexander Georgiev on Saturday, so I assume that both the teams are going to go with their normal starters. So give me over 6.5 between the Penguins and the Rangers. Bruins Capitals, another fun game in the East Division. Bruins minus 156, Caps plus 132, over under 5.5. Bruins minus 1F is plus 184, Caps plus 1F is minus 120. I have to go with the Capitals plus 132 on the money line. That's crazy. Alex Ovechkin's back. I just don't get why the Capitals are a dog. They're home, and I get it, no fans, but they're playing better than Boston right now. So give me the Capitals plus 132 on the money line. Predators Lightning. The Lightning are minus 174. Nationals plus 146. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 110. Preds plus 1F is minus 190. Lightning minus 1F is plus 158. I'm going to go with the ballsy upset here. I'm still going to take the Predators at plus 146 on the money line. I just have a feeling here that the Preds can come out and win this game. So give me the Predators plus 146. I'm going to go with the surprise upset pick here. Vancouver and Montreal. Montreal's minus 178. Vancouver's plus 150. Over under 6.5. Vancouver's plus 1F is minus 178. Minus 1.5 for Montreal plus 150. I'm going to take another dog. I'm going to go with the Canucks plus 150 straight up. Brock Pester's playing well. The Canucks are just playing better as a team in general. So give me Vancouver plus 150 straight up. And last but not least, Calgary, Winnipeg at 8 o'clock. Calgary's minus 122 favorite. Winnipeg plus 104. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 115. Unders minus 135. Calgary minus 1F is plus 225. Winnipeg plus 1F is minus 275. I know Calgary is coming off that big win over Montreal, but I am not convinced that this is a turning of the corner for them. The over is actually more enticing than taking the Jets. So Jets and over parlay, I like it, but I'd rather go with the over 6.5 at plus 115. So that's going to be my play for that game tonight. And obviously Golden Knights Sharks postponed because the Golden Knights have some COVID issues. Over the weekend, we saw a big trade in the NFL, sending Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Goff, a 2023 first-round pick, 2022 first-round pick, and a 2021 third-round pick. Crazy trade between those two teams. I think that the better end of this deal could very well be the Lions if the Rams roster around Stafford ages. But I don't love Goff on the Lions. I think if they flip Goff into something else, then Detroit can become a winner in this deal and they can rebuild around a young quarterback. But I don't love the fit with Detroit with Goff. I think they're going to move Goff. I think they're going to move him to, like, the Colts or a team that loses out on Deshaun Watson, maybe the Bears or something like that. Because Goff's an upgrade over Mitch Trubisky. So I think that the Rams are under immense pressure to go out and win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. But I don't know if Stafford's even the guy to do so. Stafford's an upgrade over Goff for sure, but it's not substantial. You could argue that the Rams aren't even the best team in their own division. If the 49ers go out and get Deshaun Watson, that's another team in play for... I don't see the 49ers getting Goff, but that's another candidate for Deshaun Watson. If they get Watson, then that's the Super Bowl favorite in the NFC. Because the 49ers were bad this year because they lost Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Bosa. And that's why they were bad. It's not because they're a bad team. It's just that their two best players were injured and missed the whole season. So, the Rams got to go for it. They have no first-round picks other than, oh, wait a minute. Their 2021 first-round pick is owned by the Jaguars because of the Jalen Ramsey deal. Oh, my goodness. They haven't picked in the first round in years. They're just going all in. They better win, or else this is an unmitigated failure. It's funny because before the season this past year, I predicted the Rams to be terrible, or not terrible, but bad. I had them going like 6-10, and I thought there was a chance they'd trade some pieces. But they're still going for it, and they're putting all their eggs in the Matthew Stafford, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald basket. And obviously, Aaron Donald wasn't a trade acquisition. He was a drafty. But, yeah, crazy trade. I think the Rams are just under immense pressure to win now and win big. And on the other side, with the Lions, I like that they got 2 first-rounders for Stafford, and they got a third this year. But Jared Goff, to me, in Detroit makes no sense. If you're rebuilding, you don't rebuild around a guy that's worth like $145 million in his contract. I think they got to move off that deal. Call Indy. Call some other teams that are quarterback needy. Call the Patriots. I think the Patriots would be a nice fit for Goff personally. If the Patriots still are trying to win. And I don't love the San Francisco fit for him. Maybe the Bears. Call those 3 teams. See if they're interested in Jared Goff. And maybe you can get a second for him. And maybe you send a pick to that respective team to take on the money. So, yeah, the Goff part of it, I think that's another asset for Detroit to gangle. And then they just get a quarterback in this year's draft, whether it's Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, or whomever, and build around that quarterback and build around those picks you got from the Rams and potentially picks that you can get for Jared Goff. Or try to trade other pieces, too, that wouldn't want to be there. Like, build around the young quarterback, build around the young corner they took in the draft last year, and just trade off some veterans. Detroit's blowing it up. And now another trade that happened over the weekend In Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies traded away Nolan Arenado to the St. Louis Cardinals. The deal's not really official yet, but it looks like it's going to happen. We don't know what pieces are going back to the Rockies yet. But it looks like that Austin Gomber could be going in that deal, the Colorado, and some other prospects. I don't think the Rockies are going to get what they want here. This is reminiscent of when the Marlins traded Giancarlo Stanton to the New York Yankees and didn't get a whole lot back. But they did better in that deal than they would have thought, because that young pitcher that the Yankees sent is turned into a nice asset for the Marlins. But, yeah, Austin Gomber might be the best piece going back to the Rockies in this deal. So the Rockies are blowing it up and starting over, and the Cardinals are going all in. Now I think the Cardinals have established themselves as the favorites in the National League Central going into the 2021 season with him, and then they have Paul Goldschmidt there. They have a very expensive corner infield with those two guys. And then they have Yadier Molina, who's expected to come back. They have some other players there. Matt Carpenter. And then they have some outfielders that they like. Tyler O'Neill. And some others. And then they have their pitching staff. Adam Wainwright's back. So, I think the Cardinals are a couple pieces away from being a World Series contender. But they're certainly established themselves as the favorites in a weak NL Central, with the Reds looking like they're blowing it up. Trevor Bauer's not yet signed, amazingly enough. I just think that he just wants too much money. The Cubs signed Jock Peterson, so they get their offense better. I don't think the Cubs are very good. They traded away Yu Darvish. The Brewers are trying to trade Josh Hader. And the Pirates are the worst team in baseball. So the Cardinals, with this trade, to me, established themselves as the team to beat in the NL Central. A very weak NL Central, in my opinion. With a team that's rebuilding and three other teams that are on the verge of rebuilding. In the Cubs, the Reds, and the Brewers. So, yeah. Great trade by the Cardinals. They didn't have to give up much. And they have two marquee name players in their lineup now with Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, who are excellent both offensively and defensively. And they're going to be an unstoppable duo in that lineup. Now I'm going to do my mock bracket, my first one of 2021. I last did one of these in the preseason, amazingly enough. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 1 overall seed in the number 1 region, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And oh, by the way, the tournament's going to be played in the state of Indiana at a couple different venues. So that is very interesting. The number 2 overall seed, the Baylor Bears. The number 3 overall seed, the Michigan Wolverines. The number 4 overall seed, the Villanova Wildcats. 2 seeds. In the 1 region, Virginia. The 2 region, Houston. 3 region, Texas. 4 region, Alabama. 3 seeds. 1st region, Missouri. 2nd region, Virginia Tech. 3rd region, Florida State. 4th region, Iowa. 4 seeds. 1st region, West Virginia. 2nd region, Louisville. 3rd region, Ohio State. 4th region, Xavier. 5 seeds. 1st region, Tennessee. 2nd region, Wisconsin. 3rd region, Texas Tech. 4th region, Creighton. 6 seeds. 1st region, Oklahoma. 2nd region, UCLA. 3rd region, Illinois. 4th region, Kansas. 7 seeds. 1st region, USC. 2nd region, Minnesota. 3rd region, Boise State. 4th region, Oregon. 8 seeds. 1st region, St. Bonaventure. 2nd region, Purdue. 3rd region, LSU. 4th region, BYU. 9 seeds. 1st region, Utah State. 2nd region, Arizona. 3rd region, Clemson. 4th region, North Carolina. 10 seeds, first region, Rutgers. Second region, San Diego State. Third region, Florida. Fourth region, Drake. 11 seeds, first region, Syracuse. Second region, VCU. Third region, Wichita State. Fourth region, Colorado. 12 seed, first region play-in game, UConn, Colorado State. Second region play-in game, SMU, Arkansas. Third region, Belmont. Fourth region, Winthrop. 13 seeds, first region, Liberty. Second region, UAB. Third region, East Tennessee State. Fourth region, Toledo. 14 seeds, first region, Navy. Second region, Louisiana. Third region, Vermont. Fourth region, Grand Canyon. 15 seeds, first region, Northeastern. Second region, Montana State. Third region, South Dakota. Fourth region, UC Irvine. 16 seeds, first region, Cleveland State. Second region, Sam Houston State. Third region playing game, Siena Prairie View. And fourth region playing game, NC-A&T and LIU. So this is obviously going to change. I don't think UConn will end up as a play-in team, but their resume is a little weak to me. So that's why it's low. And this is obviously going to be moved around as I start to get a deeper look on some of these teams' resumes. As I think the top 20 on this list seems realistic and correct. But I'm going to obviously make some changes if I do this again next week or the following week. Alrighty, last but not least, my best bet of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting ones on the board for me to go with here. But the one that I like the most is Oklahoma getting the points against Texas Tech. It's a big game on ESPN. So give me Oklahoma plus the points against Texas Tech as my best bet of the day. I just think that Texas Tech is overvalued in the spot. And Oklahoma is just playing great basketball right now, coming off that win over Alabama. Although there's a letdown potential, I think that there's a realistic shot Texas Tech wins this game. But I just think that this will be a little bit more competitive than Vegas thinks. And it's valuable price at -106. So there you have it. Best bet plus 6.5 for Oklahoma against Texas Tech in the Big 12 tonight, 9 o'clock on ESPN. So there you have it for the podcast today. Make sure you take a look at last night's episode with my friend Derek Felix as we talk about the NHL, the Knicks, the Nets, that get Jared Goff trade, and a lot more. Tonight I'm going to have my buddy James Celestin on. He hasn't been on in a while. We'll do Deshaun Watson trades, and we'll do some rapid-fire stuff and talk a little baseball and basketball and hockey as well. And on tomorrow's show, we'll recap everything from today looking ahead to tomorrow. I'm going to do my NBA power rankings tomorrow on the show, and anything else that happens in the world of sports and pop culture, I'll have for you as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.